The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hey everybody, how's it going? I know I am sweating. Unfortunately, the house that I live in does not have an air conditioner, and Colorado does have a summer. The only good thing is that it doesn't really last long, so my apologies for glistening. I guess that's what it's called, glistening. Anyway, today I am so excited to be reviewing this next book. In fact, it did come out this year and written by a friend of mine. His name is Robert J. Krog. Robert, I hope I pronounced your last name right. I think it is Krog. So, without further ado, let's begin. So, this book, I'm going to tell you just straight up, I really didn't know what to expect. I read the back of it and I was like, okay, I'll take a chance. Why not? For those of you who don't know, I've known Robert for many years, and actually he's the cousin of a friend of mine. I think that's right. But we met through the con circuit, of course, how I meet a lot of my friends. And I just have to say, one thing about Robert's writing, it is absolutely solid. When you read something that was written by Robert J. Krog, you know it's going to be a solid read from beginning to middle to end. Robert's just one of those kinds of writers where he truly has the talent, he has the gift. Anything that he writes is going to be fantastic. I actually published, I think, one of his stories in a steampunk anthology, and I said this is probably the best story I've ever read. It kind of goes up there with like maybe four or five short stories or novels where I'm like, no, really, this defines what it means to be a writer, in my opinion. It's my opinion. Sorry, my opinion. But anyway, Robert is a solid writer. He's an awesome writer. He will keep you turning the pages. You will keep asking yourself, what next? What next? What next? So today, the book I'm reviewing is Shank. And this is part of the Hit World. This is book number 5. But just to read the back of it for you, everything you don't believe is real. When the 9/11 attacks wiped out America's government and the timid remnants refused to commit the U.S. military, patriotic mercenaries went abroad to hunt down those responsible. They were the life enders who executed the responsible terrorists on live pay TV. Seeking to lessen the crime rate back home, the government allowed them to form Life Enders Inc. to perform contract killings for anyone who could afford to hire them. But only licensed shooters could accept a contract, which ensured the government got their cut. Gordon Shaw, or Shank, I love the fact that he's called Shank. This is just awesome. Due to an unfortunate incident, which I won't spoil that for you, you're going to have to read and find out why he's called Shank, was an assassin for whom killing was easy, perhaps too easy. He ruthlessly fulfilled every contract that came his way, amassing a huge number of kills. But with the kills come enemies, and before too long, there are people looking to end his career as an assassin and his life. And when Shaw finally gets the challenging contract he wants, one that 3 assassins before him have failed to complete, the deck is stacked against him. Will Shaw complete his most dangerous contract, or this time has his luck finally run out? Like I said, when I first started to read this book, I really wasn't sure what to expect. And in fact, I thought the focal point was going to be on something else, which, if you read the book, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. I really don't want to give away a lot. However, as I kept reading, I noticed that the focal point is this assassin, Shaw or Shank, and the people that he influences with his actions. This man is a cold blooded killer, almost like a sociopath. Like there's no emotion, there's no remorse, there's nothing. And that got me thinking about this book and the different characters and how they interacted with each other. So I won't go into the diatribe, but I will say this. Let me put this book down for right now. It's this feeling of who gets to decide who lives and who dies in this world. Not now, but in this world. And it's interesting that if someone wronged you, if someone cheated on you, if you were jealous of somebody's success, if somebody was standing in your way of you amassing a great fortune, rather than dealing with it on a humane basis, you would call life enders, set up a contract, and if I remember correctly, the initial pay was $1 million, then that person would just dispose of that person for you without a second thought. It was like a contract, and it was kind of hard for me to wrap my head around that, but I was like, just go with the story, just go with the story. But again, it was like, it's amazing how those who have the money, those who have the wherewithal, can easily dispose of somebody just because they wanted to. And Gordon Shaw played a very big role in all of that. So, anyway, before I go any further, this is the time for the review. So, let me just say this book gets the 5 Cup of Tea Award. This is like the highest honor. Again, I just have to say, from the beginning to the middle to the end, it was a solid read. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I kept asking, well, what now? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? There were actually two characters that I was worried about and I was concerned about. And one of them was a writer, and the other one was a woman who was blessed. And that's all I'm going to say. But it was just interesting how this really kind of this felt so close to home. Like that this felt like this could really happen. I'm glad that it doesn't, or maybe it does, and maybe I'm living in a shell or something like that. But his writing made it so believable. Like you were ready to think that there was a company out there called Life Enders. But I will say that the ending is not lollipops and kittens. It is not. And it works and it fits. And I'm glad that it ended the way that it ended. So, once again, for Robert J. Krog's book Shank, part of Hit World Book 5, this gets the highest honor of the 5 cups of tea. 5 cups of tea for Shank. Ooh. And I will be putting Robert's social media and where you can order this book and all of his other books as well. So, time for the tea, of course. So, I was trying to figure out which one of my blends would be good and compatible for a shank. It's like, well, let's see here. You've got a man who's an assassin, who's a cold blooded killer. Murder is seen as legal as long as you have a contract, and a lot of dead people. A lot. So I started thinking, what tea blend would go well with that? And I came up with my Elmwood blend, which, if you can see, is a very nice dark red, which this has been steeping for a while. So the story behind Elmwood Tea is many years ago, I think it was 2015, I was the photographer in residence for Elmwood Cemetery in Memphis, Tennessee. And that's another reason why I chose the tea for this book, because this is set in Memphis. So I was the photographer for an historical cemetery for a full year, and it was basically take pictures to show the different seasons, to highlight some of the statues, because if you've been to Elmwood, you'll know what I'm talking about. It literally is a city of the dead. I mean, you could spend hours just staring at the statues, trying to figure out who was buried there. They don't say dead, they say residents. And at the end of my year, I had just started with the tea company, and I thought, I really, really do appreciate the fact that they let me be their photographer in residence. So I think I'm going to make a tea blend inspired by them. So thus came Elmwood, which this is a black tea blended with elderberries and hibiscus. Now, the reason why I chose those two ingredients aside from the black tea is the one thing about Elmwood is when you visit, you don't feel sad. I mean, yes, over 75,000 or 80,000 people, residents are there, and of course, they're all dead. But every time I used to visit Elmwood, I always felt a sense of life because you had the different kinds of trees, the flowers, the greenery. You almost forgot that you were somewhat stepping on people who used to live. But I thought, in my thinking, death is just part of the cycle. Now, not in Shank, of course. Like when you're dead, and if a contract's out on you, God help you. But with Elmwood, I thought, yes, there are dead people, but think about their lives. Think about each resident's life as a strand, and just imagine these different strands. Like, what did they see? Who did they encounter? What did they do? How did they die? Things like that. So, and plus, elderberry and hibiscus are two very, very good ingredients for your body. Elderberry has one of the highest counts of antioxidants. Hibiscus is just nothing but good for you, and tea is good for you anyway as well. So, without further ado, my trusty French press here. Let's get this tea ready. I love the color of this tea. Like, again, I don't know if you can see that, but that is a beautiful, beautiful deep red. So let's see here. Using my mug from The Craft. Yes, I actually watched that movie when it came out in theaters. I'm that old. All right. I don't know if you can see. Well, you probably can't. I really don't want to spill it on my laptop, so l'chaim. Mm. Now, I will say this. A lot of people don't care for hibiscus because they think it's too tart. It's like biting into a lemon almost. However, with the blending of the Assam and the elderberry, it's very smooth. It's very mellow. You still get the hints of the hibiscus, but it's like a hibiscus elderberry Assam. Hibiscus elderberry Assam. And it's very, very good on the palate. Mm, that's amazing. So yes, in honor of Robert J. Robert J. Krog's Shank, Elmwood Tea. You can get this tea at the Viridian Tea Company Etsy store, or if you happen to live in Colorado and you attend the Golden Farmers Market, I will be selling it there as well. Or if I happen to do any conventions or whatnot, I'm always going to have tea with me. So here you go. Oh, that's lovely. So let's see. Um, normally I read from books, but this one, I'm just gonna say, go out and get a copy of this. Seriously, you will not be disappointed at all. And I will say this though, I thought it was really charming about the author and his life and two people that influenced his life. I'm not gonna say anything further, but Robert, I know you're watching this. Well done on Roger. I truly enjoyed his character, and I do have questions for you later. So, well, let's have one more. Oh, we got a little bit more. What's interesting, and I've said this before. Yes, it's really hot out here in Denver, and yet tea has the ability to cool you down. Like right now, people are probably thinking, "Oh my God, that's a hot beverage, and it's hot outside. What are you thinking?" Actually, I'm feeling a little bit cooler. I actually am. Now, there's no circulation going on right now, so I'm probably still glistening, but tea does have the ability to cool you down. When the temperatures get colder and people automatically start thinking, oh, I can have tea and I can have, a thick blanket and a good book. But you can have tea, hot tea, all year round. It's not just for fall and winter. And like I said, I would have to say maybe the white teas or the green teas will cool you down. Now, if you really don't want to take my advice, which is fine, then I would say this is really, really good iced. I made it iced before once and I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is like a party in my mouth or something like that. With elderberry, hibiscus, and Assam. Anyway, I think the heat is getting to me. So, once again, Robert J. Krog's Shank Hit World Universe Book 5 gets the highest award here at Viridian Tea House, the 5 cup of tea. 5. Go out there and get a copy. It's really, really that good. So let's wrap things up with a nice little breathing meditation, as always. So find yourself a comfortable spot, seated, lying down, standing up, and relax your shoulders. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through the diaphragm and exhale slowly like a hiss. One more time. Deep breath through the diaphragm and out slowly. Resume your normal breathing. And this time I'm going to talk about my day to day. So today is my day off from my regular job at Crate and Barrel. And normally with most days off, you think to yourself, oh, day off, I can relax, I can watch TV, I can play video games. But what if you have a day off and it's not a day off? What if you use that time to work on a new novel, work on your side company, volunteer? It's great to have extra activities. It's great to have passions and creative pursuits, but sometimes you get worn out. Sometimes it wears you down because you don't really take a break for yourself. It's always good to help others, always. Don't forget to take care of yourself as well. So that's what today's meditation is all about. Just taking a break. If you're off today, if you're working today and you're on your lunch break, just breathe with me. Allow your jaw to soften, your shoulders to soften. Just as we come to the end of this breathing exercise, just take a deep breath in through the diaphragm. Slowly exhale. One more time. Deep breath in through the diaphragm. Slowly exhale. Slowly open your eyes again. And welcome back. Thank you so much to those who have been watching the videos as always. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It truly does. Even if it's just one person or a million people, I truly do appreciate it. Thank you. So once again, Robert J. Krog's book, Shank Hit World, Book 5, is now available. Please go out and buy it. And like I said, I will list all of the social media on the YouTube page for this review. So please go out and buy this book. This is a very, very solid, amazing, well-written book. And once again, Shank gets the 5 cups of tea, highest award ever. Woo. And if you do happen to buy Shank, try the Elmwood tea blend, which is black tea, hibiscus, and elderberries. You can do it either hot or iced. Oops. as I decide to break all of my, tea accessories here. Anyway, guys, thank you so much again. I truly do appreciate you visiting my little tea house. And until next time, raise your cup high and take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye.